up, y'all? It's your girl, Portia Marie, and I am the CEO of Dope People Meet, and you are now tuned in to the Dope People Meet podcast. We are live from the Content Factory, and this episode is sponsored by Bel Air Rosé. Today, we have the honor and privilege to have my guy, J1, Director of Hip Hop at Pandora. Please let the people know exactly who you are, where you from, and what you do for real, for real.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on this awesome platform of yours. You are doing your thing. I've been seeing you grow and develop for years now, so this is just awesome.
Thank you so
watch
much.
Your evolution. But yes, my name is Josh J1 Rayford. I was born and raised in Harlem. I moved to Atlanta to attend Morehouse, and like most New Yorkers, I stayed down here because I love the city, I love the culture, and I'm currently Director of Hip Hop Content at Pandora, and I'm also the Program Director for our Sirius XM station, Pandora Now.
I know that's right. Okay. Well, before we jump into this live, we always start with a positive affirmation.
Okay.
So pop it off for us.
Positive affirmation. Do I need to hold the glass up?
Here we go.
All right. So one of the things that I really believe in is controlling the controllable and not wasting your energy on worrying about things that you don't have any direct control over. I think people stress themselves out. They become unhealthy. You know, they get into mental depression, thinking or worrying about things that we just can't control. So control the controllable and have faith that God will handle the rest.
I love that. Yes. Social distancing. Yes, love that.
Cheers.
Let's get right into it. We gonna take it back. Okay, all the way back.
Not too far.
Let's talk about what inspired your love for music.
Wow. So I've always loved just most types of music. When I was growing up, my parents would always play Michael Jackson and Prince, and that was like my first real exposure to music. And of course, they played a lot of Motown stuff. And then growing up in New York City, it was some of the best radio in the country. I was listening to Funkmaster Flex and Angie Martinez. I grew up on them, and this was before like streaming really became big. So radio and the mixtapes is where you went to like hear new music. So I was always locked into Flex at 7 o'clock at night because he was going to drop that bomb and hit you with something crazy. And then I was a fan of DJ Clue because he was always putting out just phenomenal mixtapes every month. And he would have these exclusives that nobody else would have. And that's really what got me into music and what got me into DJing. Those guys, Flex, Clue, and DJ SNS, who was one of the biggest party DJs in New York, and he was from my neighborhood of Harlem. So I looked at those three guys, and that's really what inspired me to DJ. Plus, I couldn't rap. I couldn't rap with the dance, so I figured somebody would have to DJ. And then what really made me want to get more into the executive lane or behind the scenes is when I saw the development of different labels like Bad Boy, and you had somebody like a Puffy who was this cool, charismatic figure who was almost like an artist in himself. I mean, he later did become an artist, but initially he wasn't, but he was running the label. And then you had people like a Dame Dash and D&Y from Rough Riders. And I would look at those guys, and I was just like, here are black men who look like me, who come from similar neighborhoods as me, and they're living out their dreams, and they're having fun doing it, and they're putting other people on. So that's really what those factors between the DJs and the executives, that's really what just piqued my interest in staying with music.
Super dope. And, you know, I ain't going to let you get away with your features on 106 in Park and Rap City.
I can't believe you pulled that out. You really pulled that out the archives.
Did. Listen, I had to dig deep. I'm like, you know.
You really did. You really did.
I
had to think
never
about
heard
that.
you speak on either of these experiences. So please tell us more about your times at 106 in Park and Rap City.
Wow. It was an amazing experience. I was really just establishing myself as a DJ in Atlanta, And I think I had just got on radio or was about to get on radio, and I was blessed enough to get the person who books the DJs for both of those shows and established a solid relationship with him. And he brought me on Rap City and then brought me on 106 in Park multiple times. And it was just it was a great experience. I mean, it's not something I really talk too much about, but it's something that I'll never forget.
Right. So, like, did that ever lead you to the ladies? Like, you know, how did that transfer over into your personal life?
I ain't get no, like, extra love off of it or anything like that. Like, if people weren't sliding up in my DMs or giving me extra love, it was more so because I was DJing in Atlanta and stuff. DJs get a lot of love. DJs, bartenders, bouncers, and promoters. You know, in nightlife, in any club life, those are the gatekeepers. So a DJ can get you into most parties. If you don't want to stand like with everybody else, you can't get in the section. People always gravitate towards the DJ booth.
I'm just saying, I know normally it convert over into your personal life.
I wasn't on there enough for it. Like, I think if I was on there maybe about 4 or 5 more times, it may have did some traction in that area. But nah, it didn't really boost that status too much.
Now let's talk about how you converted DJing into becoming one of the top influential music execs today.
Absolutely. So I got my first DJing opportunity on radio at Hot 107.9 in Atlanta, and I actually came in as an intern. So
how long ago was this?
Sheesh, this was back in 08.
08.
Yeah, 08. Yeah. Well, I got my first opportunity to DJ on radio in 07, but like they let me in the building in 08. So once I got in, I knew I didn't just want to settle to be a DJ. I mean, as much as I love DJing, I never saw it as a long-term career for me. I knew that eventually, like, I would have to move on to something else. Just because clubs were cool, but I didn't see myself in the clubs like in my late 30s and going into my 40s or anything like that. So, you know, no knock on anybody who does it. That was just like my vision and what I preferred. But so once I got in the building, I made it a point to just try to network with everybody who I could, regardless of whatever department they stayed in or worked in. So I would make it a point to talk with the salespeople and learned about what they did. Production. I learned how to do production. I learned about the on-air stuff and working the board. I even learned about traffic and research. So anything in that building, I made it a point to have some sort of knowledge about, because I knew I wanted to eventually get in a position to run a radio station. And then I just saw like the evolution of things. I remember coming in as a young DJ and seeing the older established DJs that I looked up to kind of just get knocked out the way. Because DJs like myself, Infamous, Holiday, Cash, Ace, we were the new wave of hot DJs in Atlanta, so the promoters were booking us, and these guys were getting discarded. And I was looking at that like, yeah, I was hyped, but then at the same time, I was like, well, that could be me down the road. Like, somebody might come out after me and bump me off. I was like, I don't want to be like that, so I want to gracefully bow out. I don't want to get knocked out. It's like sports. You can either retire on top, or they got to push you out because, like, you can't do it no more.
Right.
You know? And I never wanted to be the latter, so I always kept that in the back of my mind, too.
I think that's super, super dope. And I like your mindset. You was a little nerdy, you know.
I am very nerdy. You know, I admit that all the time. I have nerd tendencies. I watch nerdy stuff, but I embrace it. Nerds aren't as bad as they used to be.
Embrace it, okay? Now let's talk about life at Pandora. Within your role at Pandora, you have partnered as a personality with Sirius XM Radio, along with curating the Pandora playback experiences, which I have personally attended, that I absolutely love. And I definitely know Atlanta adores the playback experiences because it's like the first time people can get their first impression, that one-on-one with an artist, and really understand behind the scenes of what the music they have produced. Yeah. So let's tell us more about the development of these ventures, as you only been at Pandora for like what, 2 years now?
Yeah, going on 2 years. 2 years in February.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You haven't even been there that long and have done so much. So tell us about the development of all these different ventures within the Pandora platform.
So when I got the opportunity to come on as head of hip hop at Pandora, I told them that part of the condition of me like signing on, I wanted to be located in Atlanta. I found out that they had a new office down there, or they were building a new office down there, and they were kind of trying to get me to go to New York.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them I would fly up to New York when he needed me, but I said, if you guys want to have like a serious presence in hip hop, Atlanta's where I need to be, because no other streaming platform right now, to my knowledge, has a big presence in Atlanta, and there's so much stuff that we can do down there. So they agreed to it. It wasn't really like a point of contention or anything. Like I just had to explain why I wanted to be down here. And then once I got down here, and I realized like we had a very unique office, because when you go to a lot of these companies, especially tech companies, you don't see a lot of people that look like us.
Right.
The Atlanta office was way different. The majority of the office, you've been in there, they look like us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just people in my department like doing the music and stuff. You had people of color who are engineers in the legal department, in the finance department. But since they weren't like really in New York or LA, they hadn't had anybody bring artists to the office like that. So what I wanted to make it a point of, myself and Brian Calhoun, who works in the industry relations team, we wanted to make the office kind of like an open door policy to artists in the city, regardless of what their status was or where they were in their career. Now, you know, we couldn't just talk to anybody.
Right.
If you had something going on, come in, we would explain how Pandora works. And that's essentially what people wanted. It was just knowledge. We weren't like guaranteeing that I was going to playlist you or put you on. But
right.
If I can explain how Pandora works and the benefits and the tools and all that kind of stuff, I felt that would be beneficial to any artist who would listen in the city itself. Then we wanted to do just different experiences as far as giving artists the opportunity to, like you said, if they have a new project coming out, to basically showcase that to the tastemakers here in the city. Because what happens a lot, and what you would see a lot of artists kind of complain about or be upset about, especially artists who are from Atlanta, they would say, well, I'm creating the music down here, but I always have to go to New York or LA to do my promo runs.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go there to do media and all that stuff. Why can't I do it here? So what we did essentially was, through these events, we wanted to create like a media outlet for Atlanta, because a lot of artists, even if they're not from here, they always come through here, whether they're on promo, they're recording, doing shows and things of that nature. So we wanted to create an opportunity where you can have those experiences that you see in New York and LA, but where the content most of the time is being created. So that was really the thinking behind that, and we just really wanted to make Pandora a hub just to do something different in the city and give people like opportunities, not just the artists, but just influencers, bloggers, music fans, tastemakers, whoever, to have that opportunity that they might not have normally gotten.
Right. And let's talk about the newest venture with the Sirius XM Radio.
So Sirius XM acquired Pandora almost 2 years ago, like right around the time that I started. And it was the first time like you had the merger of a major radio company, even though they're not like terrestrial radio, they still operate like terrestrial radio in some aspects in a streaming service. And nobody knew what it would look like. Even when the merger happened, there wasn't really a plan of, okay, this is how we're going to operate. This is how the two entities are going to exist and commingle and stuff. But I saw it as an opportunity, somebody who did come from terrestrial radio and understood like aspects of the Sirius XM infrastructure, and then learning the streaming side. I felt like I could make a lane for myself and find the overlap, because there is a lot of overlap between radio and streaming. People think that, oh, it's two separate audiences and one doesn't have to do with the other. There are definitely differences, but there are a lot of similarities as well. So what I wanted to do or be intentional about was finding that overlap and finding ways that we can put content that we're doing on Pandora on Sirius XM and vice versa. So some of the things that we did with the playbacks was we have Sirius XM personalities host it. We take the audio and they would play it back on their shows. Then I was fortunate enough to get some on-air positions doing a new music show on the Heat on Friday nights. Shout out to Dion, who's the program director, who agreed to do that because I pitched the idea. He didn't have to do it. He could have been like, no, we're going to stick with what it is, but he saw the vision and went with it. So what I do with the new music show is basically I take the new music that we're putting on Pandora and we're featuring it on that hour on Sirius XM.
That's dope.
And then around the time that we did the merger, we created a station called Pandora Now, which is basically supposed to be a reflection of the most played, the most streamed, and the most thumbed up music on Pandora, and we're playing it on Sirius XM. So I was involved in it more just so as like a consultant, like just telling them things that I saw in hip hop and R&B. But then recently they asked me to basically oversee it and be the day-to-day program director.
I know that's right, J1. I will say this, like I never been tapped into Pandora this much in my life until you got there. So therefore, that means you have a lot of impact over there. And I feel like a lot of people, especially like I said, the Atlanta market for sure, I don't think a lot of us have cared enough about Pandora until now. So I would say you guys have been doing an amazing job.
I didn't care about it either until I got hired. And I told them that. They say, what do you listen to? I said, I'm not going to lie, I haven't listened to Pandora in a very long time, but once I was like interested in the company and we were talking about putting the situation together, I went back and listened to it. And I think what we have to do as a company is just remind people what makes us unique, because again, it's not a bad service. People didn't leave Pandora just because like, oh, you guys suck. It's just other things popped up,
right?
So we have to fight for our market share and remind folks like, no, this is why you first liked Pandora. This is what we offer that's unique to everybody else, that's unique to only us and nobody else. So those are just the things that like I've been trying to work on and trying to bring to light, even in the midst of this past year in the pandemic.
What would you say is a unique feature on the Pandora platform, and how does it benefit the artists?
So you get paid through your on-demand streams, and I forget the name of the term. I'm brain fried today, but basically non-on-demand streams.
Okay.
So the difference is like on-demand streams are when you sign on to a streaming service and you type in, I want to hear such and such by Amigos. Or the other type of stream, non-on-demand streams, and forgive me for not using the correct term, but basically it's kind of like terrestrial radio where you tune into Migos radio and you don't know what song is coming up next. But Pandora has both, and the artist could get paid through both. Now, on-demand streams, you get paid more, but with the laid-back experience, the non-on-demand streams, you can actually get paid longer. Because the way Pandora works is if you have a hit that was big 10, 20 years ago, it's going to continue to stream as if it came out yesterday, because that's the way our algorithm works. That's the way our audience works. So like, let's say you are an artist and you haven't had a hit in like 15 years. But you had that one song that people just know and love. You can still get checks from Pandora even 15 years later without you having to put out another song. Yeah.
That is super dope.
Yeah.
Can you share some growth tips from the platform that most artists may not know or even use?
Absolutely. So we have free artist tools that any artist who's on the platform or has music on the platform can use. The first one is called AMP, which stands for Artist Marketing Platform. And there you can actually interact with your audience. You could record drops and place them in front of your songs. You can put links to your website, or when the world was open and people were going on tours and have shows, you can do a message saying, hey, this is so-and-so. Hey, this is Portia. Check me out at Dope People Meet in 2 weeks. If you want tickets, tap the screen to listen. And if they tap the screen, they'll go directly to your website.
That's hard.
So, yeah, I mean, artists could use it to sell merch, do shows, send people to their social media, whatever. And again, these tools are free.
That is super dope. Now, everybody wants to be on a playlist.
Yeah.
Okay. How can an artist get connected to a Pandora playlist?
It's a good question. That's always the $1 million question. So I'm going to put it in perspective. About 30 to 50,000 songs get uploaded a day to all the DSPs, right? Mm-hmm. 30 to 50,000 songs. That's a lot of music.
That's a lot of music.
There's no way I can personally go through all that music. There's no way anybody could go through that type of music. So what I tell all artists is it's a lot of competition out there. What are you doing on your own to make yourself stand out? Are you using the artist tools that Pandora has or all the other streaming platforms have? Are you investing in your social media? Are you doing digital marketing? What's the difference between your song and the 50 other people that have flooded my inbox saying that their song is hot? Show me some statistics. Who else is playing it? What's it doing in your hometown? There's so many ways that you can make your song stand out. But I think a lot of times people feel that if I get on a playlist, that's it. I'm good. I'm going to make it. It's the same thing with what people said. If I get my song on radio, I'm out of here. It don't necessarily work like that. It's more to it than that. You have to have a story. You have to have a foundation. You have to put in the work. And you want to put yourself in a situation where you're not asking somebody like me to playlist your song. You want me saying, I got to playlist your song because it's just so hot.
Right.
It's so much buzz around it. I'm hearing about it everywhere. I got to playlist this song. So I always tell people, before you look at playlisting, look at yourself. What are you doing? Have you exhausted all your resources as far as marketing yourself and putting your song out there before you're asking to give it a bigger platform and stuff? Because again, if your song is not ready to be on that playlist and the results come back not good as far as people skipping the song or they're thumbing it down, we're going to pull that song right off, because obviously people don't like it and we have to give the people what they want. It's really not about what I like.
Right.
It's about what the listeners like at the end of the day. And I'm always going to go according to what they're telling me.
So how organic would you say is the discovery process of finding new artists on you guys' platform now? Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. So we do have playlists that cater to up and coming artists and developing artists. And then there's our algorithm. Again, if you have a song, you're a new artist, and let's say you're similar to Bryson Tiller, and the algorithm kind of matches you up on Bryson Tiller radio, then you'll have a chance to get played in front of his audience. But again, it comes back to the people. If the people don't like the song and they're thumbing it down and skipping it, it's not going to play as much. Either I'm going to pull it off as a curator, or the algorithm will pick up that a lot of people are skipping it and thumbing it down. And what happens when a person actually thumbs down a song, the algorithm says, oh, okay, they don't like that song. We're not going to play that for you ever again. And we're not going to play similar songs like it. So again, you can get that exposure, but if you're not ready for that exposure and people ain't liking your music, it's not going to help you.
Right. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it sucks, but it makes sense.
It does. But I tell artists all the time, like, take the steps, develop your audience first before you start going after all these major playlists or streaming platforms. A lot of artists, if you notice, they'll have their stuff on places like SoundCloud or YouTube first, where a lot of people are going for music discovery before they even take it to like a Pandora or Apple or Spotify. Because why? They're gaining their audience. They're going to a place where people are more open to finding artists that nobody knows about. I always tell people, like, playlisting is kind of like a restaurant. If you're in the mood for pizza, you're not going to go to McDonald's.
Right.
You're not going to go to Burger King. You're going to go somewhere that serves pizza. It's the same thing with music and playlisting. If I want to hear the latest by Drake or somebody else, if I want to hear these main artists, I'm going to go to a specific playlist for that, or I'm going to go to a specific station for that. If I want to hear like the new and developing artists, I'm going to go to a specific station or playlist for that, or I'm going to go to a specific DSP that focuses on that. And I think artists just have to realize, okay, where does my music or where does my product fit best? If I'm selling pizza, I'm not going to try to sell McDonald's like, yo, you need to sell my product. No, we're in the business of serving burgers and fries. Don't nobody want pizza over here.
Right.
So they just, as an artist, you just have to really strategize and focus on who you're going after and develop a plan to really find that niche audience and build your story.
So how would you say the internet has benefited the music business today?
It's a double-edged sword, because the internet has definitely made it easier to get music out there. Social media has given artists a platform that they can market themselves. And with the development of so many distribution companies, you can be an independent artist and not have to sign to a label and have a very successful career. And with streaming, you can get that money directly into your pocket. At the same time, it's lowered the barriers of entry for being an artist. So now you're seeing so many artists and people upload their music. It goes back to that statistic I mentioned earlier. We're getting 30 to 50,000 songs uploaded a day. So again, it's beautiful because there's so many people putting music out there and you're exposed to so much stuff, and it's made it easier for artists to get their stuff out there, but it's also increased the competition, and it's made it difficult at the same time. So it's just navigating those waters.
Now I have a question. You know, now all of a sudden, all these strippers want to be like Cardi B, all these different influencers, social media influencers want to be the next Nicki Minaj and the next Meek Mill and all this. How do you feel about that? Because most of the time, these people, let's be honest, are not that talented to become a rapper or the next singer, you know, of America. But they are doing it, and it's kind of like taking down, to me, the value of artistry. How do you feel about that? And how the world is switching up into that space of accepting these influencers or these strippers or whomever because they have a huge following and they know they're bringing the numbers.
I've seen it go both ways. I mean, I've seen influencers who have been successful at crossing over into music, and I've seen influencers who have huge followings that can't get a hit to save their life. So I feel like at the end of the day, it's about connecting with the audience and putting out quality music. I mean, what might be quality to somebody else might not be quality to me or you.
Right.
But there are records that I'm like, there's no way this is going to work. But it might be, it turns out to be a viral song or a viral video and stuff. We just never know what people are feeling. So I kind of try to like detach myself from saying, oh, well, this person's an influencer and they don't make quality music or their lyrics suck like that. Sometimes people like that kind of stuff. You know, I feel like if you, at the end of the day, it's going to sound so simple and dumb and shallow. If you have a good hook and a good beat, 9 out of 10 times you're going to have a good song.
Yeah.
I mean, that's that's what people listen for. That's what people like to sing along to. When you're in the club, people are singing those catchy hooks.
Yeah.
You know, they want those quick lines that they could use as captions on their Instagram or their social media and stuff like that. So I don't know. To me, if you can make a hit song and you can capture your audience, a lot of it is your marketing and the people you have around you. I mean, I'm not gonna knock you for it.
I mean, I feel you on that. Like, is there an artist, I guess, or in the same realm of what we're talking about, was there an interesting trend that you actually seen pop off in 2020 where you saw someone actually build their platform all the way up into becoming a dope artist?
I haven't really seen it like in 2020. I know a lot of them are putting out music and stuff. And again, that's why I said it doesn't automatically translate just because you have over 1 million followers on all these social media platforms and you have a crazy influencer following. It don't mean that your music is going to pop off, and it doesn't translate into you getting a deal and stuff like that. There still has to be some sort of connection. You still have to make some sort of quality music.
Right.
I mean, as big as Cardi been putting out music, but it wasn't until Bodak Yellow popped off that's when people were like, "Oh,
yeah,
oh, okay, we rocking with her music." Now she had her loyal fans that liked her mixtapes prior to that, but when she hit with Bodak Yellow, and we knew that was a hit, that just took her out of here. So again, you still have to have the music. Still has to be there, whether it's may not be like the best lyrical content or anything like that. Again, like I said, you get a good beat and a good hook, you can get a good song.
Okay, so that means I can become an artist tomorrow.
You could be listen.
You know what, Pandora, y'all need to get a label so you can sign me or whatever.
That's above my pay grade, but but again, I mean, we've seen it so many times. Like, people make catchy hooks and just catch a wave, and then but what happens after that is it's like they don't know how to repeat that process.
Right. Speaking of that, what would you say are good strategies behind release dates for like music, content, and etc.?
I tell artists who are really trying to separate themselves. Well, first and foremost, let me rewind that. If you're releasing music, you need to have a distribution company. And basically, your distribution company uploads your song to all the DSPs and streaming platforms. But you also want to have a good relationship with your DSP. It's one thing to have your song uploaded, but you'll be one of 50,000, right?
Right.
You want to have a relationship with your distribution company so that they can email or call people like myself or the other curators at the streaming services and say, hey, here's the list of our top 5 priorities that we're pitching this week. You may or may not get playlisted, but at least you'll get listened to.
Right.
Because I do make it a point, like, if so-and-so emails me from United Masters or Empire or the other distribution companies, I'm going to at least listen to their priorities. And if something sticks out, they might get playlisted. But again, that's on the artist to have a good relationship with their distribution company that they can do that. The other thing is, you're not at the level of just doing a surprise release or dropping a project. Like Drake, Beyonce,
only people that can
the
do
baby,
it.
a few, the megastar artists, they could do that and still get away with it. You want to at least give yourself 2 to 3 weeks that people know about what you got coming out, because how it works is we're always planning 2 or 3 weeks ahead. These are the priorities for this week. This is the priority for next week. This is the priority on this date. And that way we know, okay, we can either showcase this, or we have room for this, or this is coming down the pipeline, so we need to be on the lookout for that. And it just gives us time to listen to the music, digest it, and put it on our like release schedule and stuff. So I would say do those things, and then also maybe release your music earlier in the week. Friday is usually the day that everybody's releasing music.
Right.
The major artists, the labels, independent artists. So maybe you release your stuff on a Thursday, a Wednesday. Maybe I would stay away from Monday just because it's the beginning of the week.
Right.
But Wednesday and Thursday are always good days if you're an artist that's like coming up and you're trying to get some traction and you want to avoid the crowd and the rush. Do it that way.
No, I agree with that. Even a music blogger even told me like Fridays, they was like, stay away from Fridays. They say, I don't know what it is, but content drop better, like you said, during the week, like Wednesdays, Thursdays. People be more tapped in and tuned in on those days. I guess Friday, people mind would just be like, it's the weekend.
It's a weekend.
So much going on.
It gets lost in things. So yeah, any blogger or PR person will tell you, never do a press release like on a Friday or anything like that. So yeah, when it's the same thing with music. So I say Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a Tuesday, but Wednesday and Thursday would probably be the best days.
Okay, and so as we know, the talk of the town is always, should artists stay independent or should they sign to a label?
Yeah.
When do you think is the appropriate time for an artist to sign to a label?
Depends on the artist. Depends on what you have going on and your resources. If you have the bank and the infrastructure and the team to be independent and you're making money and you're in a spot where actually signing to a label will hurt you more, then you might just want to stay independent. You know, you have a lot of distribution companies that are operating like labels and that will give you that support. They might not give you the label support, but they'll give you a marketing budget, or they'll pitch your records to the different streaming companies or even radio spots. Empire basically works as a record label, but most people may or may not know they're a distribution company.
Right.
So, but on the flip side, you might be somebody that's immensely talented, but you don't have that bank because it costs money to put music out and to get people to listen to it. Yeah. It's one thing to make a great song, but to get the word out there about that song, that's a totally different budget.
Yeah. So artists forget about that.
Artists always forget about that. Yeah. They put all their money into making the song or getting so-and-so on the feature, but then there's nothing left over for the marketing. But so you might be in that situation where you need the support of a major label and stuff. So I think it's to each his own. You might be all right as an independent artist. You might need the label, but you might want to structure in a way that you're not like selling your soul or signing your life away, because I think that's another mistake that artists make, is they just sign everything away. Yes. And then after that deal is over, they end up going independent anyway. But you might need that label situation to get you started off. Just make sure the paperwork is right and that you're not giving your soul away.
Right. And don't fall into the advancement money. I think that's what it is. A lot of people be like, I never seen this amount of zeros a day in my life. So yeah, I'm with it. But definitely make sure you pay attention to that. And also, even as an independent artist, because, I work with plenty independent artists, and artists always forget that you have to pay money to market your shit. Yep. Like, I don't know why people think that we can just pull everything up out of our what, and it's just like, come on, like, you got fire music, but you want me to spend all my bread for you, to expose you to the world. But we can go on and on about that for days, and I just want to say thank you so much for tapping in. We can go on and on, okay? Because listen, J1, he know the game, okay? He been in the game for however long, so we can go on, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining in with us today. But before you leave, we have to play the 10-question game.
Oh, man, I was hoping we could avoid that. That's why I was trying to stretch out my answer so we run out of time.
Don't try to stretch out your answer, okay? Listen, 10 questions, 10 seconds, 1 pass. Don't break my rules.
10's a good number. That was my line number. So
that was my line number.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, 10 Club, y'all know what it is. Okay, let's get into it. Do you sing in the shower? If so, what song?
Nah, I don't sing in the shower.
Don't act like that. Yes, you do.
I don't sing in the shower.
So what you do in the shower?
I wash myself. I wash my ass.
And that's it.
Yeah.
You boring in the shower. You so boring.
I wash and I think about stuff. I think about what I gotta do. I ain't singing. I can't sing.
I mean, so.
I'm good.
All right. If you could change anything about the industry, what would it be?
That's a very loaded question, right?
I know.
I can change anything about the industry. Honesty.
Oh, let's talk about it. Okay.
I think it just needs to go all the way around. Labels being honest with artists being honest with themselves,
and management and their team.
I was gonna say the team being honest with the artists, because sometimes, some people ain't got no business being an artist. That's just the reality of the situation. I loved rap music, but I knew I wasn't a rapper. So I found another means to stay in music. And sometimes that's the way it goes. You might not be, you might be a dope artist, but you might not have the charisma to be like a superstar or anything like that. So your lane might be a ghostwriter or something.
Right.
I'm
trying to tell these artists, songwriters get bread too.
Songwriters get bread. They don't have to deal with a lot of the issues that come along with the limelight, and they tend to have longer careers because you can continue to write for 20, 30, 40 years and nobody know who you are. You don't have to keep up an image or
exactly
go out of style or, he or she is yesterday's news and all that stuff. As a songwriter, you write till you damn near in the grave. No,
that's a fact. All right. Speaking of artistry, if you could be an artist for a day, who would you be?
Oh, man. I can be an artist for the day.
Yeah.
For a day. I'd say Lil Baby.
Lil Baby?
I'd be Lil Baby.
Why? Because of the women?
Nah, not even that. I mean, you could name so many artists that applies to. Lil Baby is one of my favorite artists out right now. And I just think lyrically he's dope. He knows how to put together a hit record, but he's conscious of like what's going on around him.
Yes.
As far as helping out his community, putting other artists on. He's very smart.
Yeah.
Too.
Smarter than people think.
Smarter than people think. So, and everybody just loves Lil Baby.
Yeah, I ain't mad at that answer.
Yeah, I would just want to be Lil Baby for a day, and hang out with Coach and P and stuff and ride around and whatnot. And hang out with James Harden and get gifts from NBA players.
Okay, I know that's right.
Yeah.
I ain't mad at that answer. What would you say is your favorite song of all time?
Favorite song of all time? Wow. That is a good one.
Pick through your archive.
Can You Stand the Rain by New Edition.
Okay. Why?
We had to sing that song when I was online almost every night for the Big Brother.
Oh, okay.
So that song holds sentimental value to me.
Okay, understandable.
You understand where I'm coming from.
I understand where you're coming from. All right, now if you had a superpower, what would it be?
If I had a superpower?
Yeah.
Snap my fingers and make money.
Okay.
Out of thin air.
Well, I hope you get that superpower. They say black people supposed to get this superpower in a couple of days.
Hey.
So please throw some money my way. Don't throw it at me, but just throw it in my bank account.
Don't make it rain on you.
Don't make it rain on me, but make it rain in my bank account. Okay.
No doubt.
If you were a beverage, what would it be?
An Arnold Palmer.
Why?
Everybody likes sweet tea and
lemonade. That's that country shit.
There ain't no country stuff.
Yeah, it is.
That's a great drink. I drink an Arnold Palmer all day.
I guess because I don't like tea like that, so I'm just not in tune.
And you supposed to be from the South?
Listen, it's okay. Everything is not for everybody.
Arnold Palmer.
Okay, let it be. If you could be a cartoon, who would you be?
Ooh. So many good cartoons out there. I might show my nerdiness on this.
Okay.
Scrooge McDuck.
Wow. Really? It takes you to say that.
Scrooge McDuck. Absolutely. You know how rich Scrooge was?
Oh, that's all you care about, the coin.
I mean, he swam in a money bin.
All right. Are you choosing shoes or jewelry?
Shoes or jewelry?
Yeah.
There's not a third option?
No.
I'm not even big on neither one of those.
Oh, okay, you gotta choose though.
I gotta choose one. I'll take jewelry because I could probably sell that back quicker than I can sell shoes.
That's all you give a damn about is making your money back. You don't even want to enjoy this stuff. You like, I'm just gonna get it real quick so I can go get my money back.
I like I like J's and all that kind of stuff, but I haven't been on them like I used to be, and I don't wear a lot of jewelry. I'd rather just flip that money and invest it in like real estate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Period.
In investments.
Okay. I feel that. NBA 2K or GTA?
Ooh. GTA.
GTA.
Yeah.
Last question.
Yeah.
What's next for J1?
What's next for J1? Just keep on evolving.
Yeah.
And keep on pushing myself. I never let myself get comfortable no matter what position I'm in or what type of accolades I get. I always think in the back of my mind that, okay, either somebody's coming after my position or it could be gone tomorrow. And
good way to think.
Yeah, what's next? So I never let myself get comfortable.
Love that. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in with us. Are there any final remarks you would like to leave our audience with?
No, just be safe, and if you're going to take the vaccine, do your research.
Don't take that vaccine, man. People been falling out, tripping. I don't know. Yeah, definitely do your research.
Do your research. I don't know. I
ain't taking that vaccine. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna wait and see, because Charlemagne made a good point.
What'd he say?
He said people do a lot of other nasty stuff, and we're afraid of taking a vaccine. Like, he talked about people eating the groceries and having unprotected sex, and we eat all types of processed foods.
Listen,
so
you ain't comparing that to this vaccine where we seen this woman fall out on live TV.
One woman.
Okay, and then what about the people with the crooked faces?
What crooked faces?
See, that's what I'm saying. You got to do your research. You just said do research.
Okay,
got to do your research.
But out of how many people is that? And they could have been. That could have been
seen 4 people
else.
It went wrong 4 times already. That's enough.
Out of how many people?
It don't even matter.
out of how many people?
Listen, it don't even matter, y'all. We could go on about this for days. Do y'all research on this vaccine, okay?
I'm gonna wait and see. I'm gonna wait and see. I know some people that have already taken it, so if they don't grow no tails or nothing happens to them, I think I'll be all right. I want to travel again.
I mean, I do too, but goodness gracious,
they not gonna let you travel certain places unless you like show you've taken that vaccine.
Okay, we gotta find out the finesse around that. I had to bring up my black side. I gotta find the finesse around that. Now, thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode of Dope People Meet podcast. We had the pleasure of having J1 in the building. As you know, this is where creators meet. Make sure you guys follow us on all social media at Dope People Meet podcast, at Dope People Meet, and me, your host, Portia Marie, at PORCHIA. It's French, okay? MARIE. Follow me, follow my guy J1. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yes, at Poster Child J1, POSTERCHILD, letter J, number 1 on all social media platforms.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay tuned for the next episode, and we are out.